Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Think Tankards Podcast. My name is Chris.
My name is Ian.
My name's Nathan.
And we are a podcast where three guys from the Northeast, every week we go through a different topic brought to us by one of our co-hosts, and we see whether we curse them for the knowledge or we thank them for it. And this week,
are podcast.
We are podcast. And
we are.
This week we are podcasting about Robin Hood, and it's an Ian episode. So all of that entails, and all those women who write into me using the word sopping, and all those men who write in using the word turgid are going to love this because we enjoy the Ian episodes. So without further ado, I'll do the preamble first, which is, if you like the podcast, please do engage with us however you can. Follow us on Spotify, review us, give us a rating on Apple, whatever it is, wherever you listen, there will be some mechanism by which you can interface with the show. Please do. It helps a lot. And if you do, I promise not to tell your partner about what you open up in an incognito tab. Because it's not a birthday present, no matter what the advert used to say about incognito mode. You're not buying a gift there, you filthy bastard. So,
no, one day we will be sponsored by ExpressVPN.
One day we will, but until then, I can see it. I can see exactly what you're doing, and so can God. Which is handy, because today's a very Christian tale. So, Ian, over to you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for not making that so turgid. With regards to Robin Hood, the reason I have picked this out is I've been borderline obsessed with Robin Hood my entire life. Because to pull the curtain back, often the tagline is 3 men in the Northeast, and you think, hang on, Ian doesn't sound like he's from the Northeast, or poor. He sounds like he's somewhere else. The East Midlands, that's right. And I did some relatively early stand-up about how I don't sound like I'm from the East Midlands, partially because the East Midlands doesn't only not have a defined regional accent, or one that's as famous as, Scouse or Brummie, or, a bad accent. We don't really have any of that, nor really any kind of regional identity. Now, the one thing that kind of defies that is the mythos of Robin Hood, because Robin Hood is principally synonymous with Sherwood Forest, which is in Nottinghamshire, and the Sheriff of Nottingham, so Nottingham, although the sheriff would be a officer position which would be for the county of Nottinghamshire. So it's seen as Nottinghamshire based, Nottinghamshire being in the East Midlands, therefore it kind of speaks to the rest, because there is fuck all of interest in Derbyshire in terms of culture. There's some lovely hill walks to have, and Leicestershire, as was described to my mother by my grandma when asked why we are moving there, she says it's hunting, fishing, shooting country, by which I mean there's a lot of rural Tories. So Nottinghamshire lays claim to the Robin Hood mythos. There is some claim from the good people of South Yorkshire, which I'll go into later. But when I was on my gap year between school and university, again, early stand-up, when I was kind of introducing myself to people when I was out in Canada, I said, I'm from Leicester. And naturally they said, where the fuck is Leicester? So I was like, Robin Hood? Think about 30 miles south. And that would do.
And then they said, what's a mile?
Yeah.
Except it was Canada rather than America. So whilst
Oh,
they do work in
how many meese is that? Obviously,
yeah. They
exactly
said, sorry, what's a mile?
killer mooses is what they've got in Canada as a
Have a
measurement
bag
of.
of milk.
Yes, that's right.
someone sent me not an original thought in the world. One of my friends sent me is in Toronto now, and she sent me a picture of a bag of milk earlier today. It's
Yeah,
fucking
having a
weird.
bag is different out there than it is over here.
It's
Do you want to get a
Friday night.
bag in and they just come in with like semi-skimmed?
Friday night, gonna have a baggie.
That's a terrible accent.
It's either that or Ricky and Julian and Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. That's the only ones I can approximate.
Sorry to
So,
our one Canadian listener.
how many Canadian listeners do we have, Chris? Roughly.
I can't answer that off the top of my head. I
Fine.
think it's about 5% of listeners are from the Canadians.
Oh, so one.
No, listeners overall is very different. It's very interesting. Also, as well, in the background, podcasting figures are fucked. Nobody can agree on any like coherent metric on any platform. Platforms don't report them properly to each other. Some don't report them fully. And it's like some of them you have to listen to every single second of a full episode before it counts as one listen. So like if you skip it off, it won't ever count it. Then others, it's just all fucked up. It's all the it's that Wolf of Wall Street scene. It's a fugazi, it's a fugazi. Doesn't mean anything.
Just
So
sounds like
anyway.
you've had an awful lot of copium with that one.
Yeah, it's just- yeah. There's 3 listeners, and it's us.
It's
And
us.
here we are.
Yeah.
So I grew up knowing of the folklore of Robin Hood from an early age, thanks to a children's TV sitcom called Maid Marian and Her Merry Men, which was the brainchild of Tony Robinson, Baldrick as was, in which he wrote the thing and co-starred as the Sheriff of Nottingham. But the whole idea was that Maid Marian was actually the brains behind the operation, but because it was 12th century England, Robin Hood, who was more a kind of vain tailor kind of figure, he was put up as the figurehead throughout. So that was something that lasted 4 series from the late 80s through early 90s. And again, knowing about it regionally, we had a school trip to Sherwood Forest around the time of my 6th birthday. I had a Robin Hood party with my friends. The dress code was just dress all in green.
Tights.
Not tights, it was still the 90s, Section 28.
Oh.
But the whole idea was that even at an age, the central idea of there's a band of heroes who live in a forest, who storm castles to rob, the rich who have unduly taxed the poor, and are therefore starving them out and sending them to prison. And I think at the time there was also quite a lot of Robin Hood Lego at the time. And again, because it was the early 90s, the fact that Robin Hood Prince of Thieves and a separate rival Robin Hood film had come out the same year couldn't have hurt the idea to really push making toys out of the Robin Hood folklore. So it was kind of very much ingrained with me as a child. And going to Nottingham, it's obviously all over the tourism. There was a place we really used to love going to as children. It was a kind of Jorvik, if you've been to Jorvik in York, but it was specifically down to the folklore of Robin Hood. It was called Tales of Robin Hood. It was on, which is still there, Maid Marian Way, which is one of the A roads, central ring roads around the city of Nottingham. To the extent that after finishing uni, I took my university girlfriend there in the summer of 2007. And then after we broke up, I went again in 2008 to create new memories without her there. And then it closed down the following year. Again, Nottingham.
Everything I do.
I live alone. And so Nottingham plays very heavily on the folklore of Robin Hood. There's a statue outside of Nottingham Castle. And then Sherwood Forest itself is both an attraction in its own right, and also it is famously where one of the Centre Parks leisure resorts is. And then growing up and giving more thought to the actual folklore, there's actually a rich vein of things to discuss. It kind of wanders into the kind of stuff that Chris is interested in. But just to put a pin in all of that, so I've given you my kind of history with Robin Hood growing up. What was your respective kind of histories, like how you came about the story and what kind of versions you might have seen?
So just before we get there, I know you both are Nintendo fans. Like, the idea of like dressing up in green and wearing tights, like that must have fucking slapped being a Robin Hood fan and a Zelda fan. Like, you got double the mileage out of any green costume to do to do a Robin Hood. You're like, oh shit, I'm Link as well. Like, you know, like I don't know. Did that has that ever That's never consciously crossed my mind until now. That Link, especially in Ocarina of Time on like the Nintendo 64,
well,
very similar. We don't call them that anymore, Ian. Very similar to Robin Hood. Like, it's a band of heroes living out in the forest who, actually, does Robin Hood have anything to do with Peter Pan? Is this all related? Because that's someone else wearing green, him and his band of outlaws living out in somewhere weird, fighting back against an oppressive force. But anyway, that's by the by. I will answer your question. The other thing I want to point out as well, do you know when you said that Maid Marian, that program about Maid Marian, you said it was on for like 4 series in the 80s. This might just be me, but do you think the invention of knowing when a series begins and ends is like a relatively modern thing? Because when I was growing up, like watching things on telly, or even getting things on like video or DVD, like I had no concept of like series beginning and ending, because it was just whatever was on the telly at the time, and like you'd tune in every week hoping to catch that show. I don't know, like, have you always separated things into series? Like, I feel like that's only been the last couple of decades.
Well, it depends what it
was,
was, really.
Adults, because I think there were certain well-loved TV shows that perhaps only had one series of like 13 episodes. So like some things you thought went on forever was just like literally one show, but they repeated quite a lot of the same episode.
Flintstones is a good example of that. That wasn't on telly for very long at all. It's on Amazon Prime now. But again, it says there's 4 series of it, and I was just like, what? What the fuck? I didn't even know these things were split into series.
Cartoons I didn't think was split into series because I was too young to even really care. Yeah. I didn't it didn't bother me. I didn't care about it. The only thing series wise I did care about was probably or knew about was Pokemon, because that was split within the generations that they used to do. So because I followed that throughout the games and followed it throughout the other media, I followed when it would change into a new series. Whether I knew it was a series or not is a different story.
Maybe Ian's right then. Maybe it's just an age thing. It's like you become aware of it. You become aware of like the structure of media as you get older. Like, okay, this is how these things work, and we know they have a break because they go off to write the new stories and whatever. Anyway, to answer your question, I'm not going to answer your question yet. Nathan, do you want to answer the question of how you came on Robin Hood for the first time?
I came all over Robin Hood through the Disney film. Yeah, it was a childhood favorite of mine, and it still is a favorite of mine. It is wonderful. I'm sure we will go into it later on, so I'll not go into it too much. But to talk about something Chris was talking about, how Robin Hood, Link, Peter Pan, all wearing green. This is an educated guess, but I think it probably started with Robin Hood being the only one of literal history. But green, he was in the forest. It's camouflage. So that's probably why he wore that. Therefore, why Peter Pan a lot of the time was hiding in the forest with his lost boys. And Link is in the forest as well doing his thing. So I do think wearing the green originally was through camouflage. But yeah, just Robin Hood, the animated film, unreal, not a furry. Coincidentally, I might be. Who knows? But yeah.
Do you mean coincidentally you might be? Are you going through some kind of self-discovery we're not aware of?
Well, no, it's because I'm not a furry, right? But my first crush as a kid was Lola Bunny
Oh, that doesn't
from
count.
Space Jam.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, I know that she's fine.
Yeah, that doesn't count at all.
But that also makes me think that there's a little piece inside me that does want to have sex with an animal. But please, Ian, please make me stop talking.
Chris, what was your first encounter with Robin Hood?
I think it was Shrek. You know, I know, right? Like I was born in the 90s, but I possibly consciously became aware of Robin Hood. Like, I imagine when I was very, very little, I'll have seen things like Men in Tights and Prince of Thieves on the telly or like in the background while I was going about my life of being a fat kid, like stuff like that. But I think consciously it was Shrek when they're doing like the dance. Like, it makes me awfully mad.
Yeah,
That's mad.
it's
That's
such
mad.
a small part of Shrek as well, though.
But I watched
Memorable.
Shrek. I watch Shrek so much, but it's like,
Yeah, it's good.
oh, merry man. Like, that bit is, like, their whole song and dance number is just fucking unbelievable. So I do think consciously, Shrek is my first exposure to Robin Hood. But Prince of Thieves I've seen quite a number of times. Men in Tights I've not seen for years, and I didn't manage to watch it. Right, I didn't manage to watch it for this episode because I'm convinced of group unconscious thing that humans have. I'm quite convinced that we've never had an original thought in our lives. So instead, I downloaded Men in Tights, but I didn't watch it because I got so distracted that all this week I've been searching for a porn parody called Men in Tight Men because I was convinced it must exist because I think it's a funny name, that there'll be a porn parody called Men in Tight Men. So I've just been Googling that all week and trying to find all of, and I've been like watching
Literally
clips.
just been Googling men in tight men.
Yeah, well, I've also been
This
looking at
incognito tab thing you were talking about.
no, it's
Projection.
It's my home computer.
Full on projection.
It's my home computer. I don't need to hide anything. So yeah, I've that is the reason I've not watched Men in Tights, is because I got convinced that this imaginary porn parody existed, and I've been trying to find it, and I don't think it does exist. But I have watched the Disney one this week. I've watched Prince of Thieves again, and I've watched the 1952 one, which is my favourite one. That was awesome. But yeah, sorry, Shrek is my answer.
Shrek from 2001.
Yes.
So, okay, interesting. Yep, no, I remember the bit. Okay, so I suppose it would probably be best to go into the folklore, because that will, give an idea as to why there are so many adaptations of Robin Hood's.
I will. I don't know if Nathan thought this as well, but like, I've watched like 3 different versions this week, and I've still got no clue what the real story is about. I've not something to do with Richard Lionheart going on a crusade in 1194. The sheriff is taxing people. That's about the only common threads that I could like pick up, because I watched 3 different films and I'm like, what's the fucking message to take away from this? What is the story?
None of them are the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So the reason for that is because Robin Hood was never a book per se. It was always a collection of folklore tales, which date back through the kind of spoken tradition. So therefore, a lot of the stories about Robin Hood that have been told, only some of them will have been committed to page, to poem, to songs that have been remembered. They're essentially what we know of Robin Hood today is an amalgam of various different stories, and what we tend to see put to film or put to television is what they choose to use for their own kind of interpretation of the folklore, which is why certain characters are seen more than others. There does tend to be a nucleus of Robin Hood, a Little John, a Maid Marian, and a Sheriff of Nottingham. That tends to be about as consistent as it gets. Otherwise, you'll get versions that don't have a Prince John. You'll get versions that don't really have many others of the Merry Men going on.
Yeah, I hate when Hollywood
What
tries
Friar
to put...
Tuck?
Yeah, well, I think it's disgusting that big Hollywood tries to push this folk agenda.
It's terrible.
Was Robin Hood in the Epstein files?
I'm going to say no, because whilst he did start off as Robin of Locksley, of the minor nobility, although even that we can get into, by and large, he's not one of the elites. He's very much, he's more of an AOC figure, trying to... I mean, you can talk about the politics of his mission going forwards as well. But I suppose if we were to start somewhere, the idea is that Robin Hood is basically set in the time when Richard the Lionheart, was the ruler of England for 10 years. And he is very well associated with the Crusades. And he's very well associated with the Crusades because he was basically never in England.
Is he the one who couldn't speak English? Was he the one who was French? Or was that Richard III?
No, it would have been Richard I.
Right. Okay.
Yes. So we're still talking about the fairly early... we're still talking about the Norman line, really. So So I suppose if we look at it, because if you've seen the Errol Flynn version of Robin Hood, they have the very interesting take of how all the villains and the bad guys are Normans and all of the English poor folk are Saxons. And I can get into the interest of that when we go into the film a bit later. But the idea is that Richard and John were the children of Eleanor of Aquitaine and Henry the Second. No, not the second. Either way, for the moment, no, it's Henry the First. Yeah, I'll go into it. But it was still within the line of the Normans. So we're about 100 years in at this point, and this was before John was outright king in his own right. He was the regent whilst Richard was off during the Crusade. So that gives you a 10-year kind of time period to set the majority of the myths, if indeed you are setting it against Prince John being the overarching villain in and of himself, because the very first fables about Robin Hood are thought to have been composed in the 1370s, and they talk about a Robin Hood who never shot his bow, and he is seen as someone who has partisanship of the lower classes. He has outstanding skill as an archer. He has anti-clericalism, which is interesting. So he was against religious authority, and he had animosity towards the Sheriff of Nottingham. So even from the start, he's been driven into outlawry because of Prince John, because Richard's been away at the crusade, but he's always shown to be a supporter of Richard. Therefore, the idea is that he will stand up against Prince John, but Prince John is obviously some ways away, probably holed up in London, rather than being out in the provincial East Midlands for whatever reason. So certain interpretations go around that. So with regard to the Disney Robin Hood, the idea that Prince John is there in Nottingham throughout is because it is the richest plum of all. And it's Eleanor of Aquitaine, Mommy's castle. So that's why he's there.
When you say the Disney one, so I watched both of them on Disney Plus.
Sorry, I should say the animated one, because the 1952 one you're talking about was also Disney. It was one of their first live action.
Fucking
versions.
amazing. I loved it in the same way I loved Casablanca. And then when I watched Angels with Dirty Faces.
Truth be told, it's a version I haven't seen.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's got that. Do you know when we were watching Casablanca and I was talking about there's something about the sound design that I like, and
Yes.
it's whatever sounds they used back then, like that type of sound system, and the way that scenes are blocked, like theaters scenes almost. Like I think I'm starting to hone in on what it is I like about old films. Because they all like like these films with like James Cagney and all that, like they all have very similar like blocking and pacing, and if you haven't seen the 1952 Robin Hood, it is fucking awesome. And Prince John is, I was going to say Little John, yeah. Lil John, not Little John, Lil John. No, Prince John is in that, and he is the overarching villain because it's like, because it starts with Richard going on crusade and the old Sheriff of Nottingham going with him, and he says, "Me and my men would follow you to the Holy Land." So that, and then it sets up that Prince John straight away gets his mate. And he's like, "You're going to be the new sheriff. Tax them to fuck." And it's like that's how they set up the antagonist and the is it the deuteragonist? Is that the name for the secondary baddie? I think it is. Deuteragonist. I think that is I think that is the name for it. But yeah, like the 1952 version. But I've never spotted that because there is some versions where Prince John isn't really there, but there is still like the sheriff will have his like top man. But then in other versions, Prince John is the main guy, and then the Sheriff of Nottingham is his top man.
Yeah,
And that's but really, really.
And the Sheriff of Nottingham's top men are Nutsy and Trigger.
Yeah.
Yes, in all of them. Yeah,
In all of them,
vultures with crossbows.
Yeah, that's
They're
funny enough,
my
that's one thing
favourite characters.
Disney never had to change that. They've always been animated vultures.
No.
It was weird. Someone watched it and said, "Why don't we just do a film full of these guys?"
Yeah. It was even in the Russell Crowe version. I was really surprised to see the exact same animated vultures. 4 o'clock and all is well.
I tell you what, though, seeing Alan Rickman in Prince of Thieves is fantastic. And I know we will get there. R.I.P. to the big man. I know we will get there, but Nick Brimble as Little John, fuck me, we missed a trick there. He would have been the Tom Bombadil for any Tolkien adaptation. He, as soon as I saw him on screen, I was like, when I was watching it today, I was like, oh my god, the world. He's still alive. He's not dead, but the world has missed its chance to have the perfect Tom Bombadil on screen. Because like that guy, he's fantastic. But I'm sorry, we will talk about the films. I hope we talk about the films.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's our research has been. But we'll still cover off the boring historical shite. Did the Crusades even happen?
Wow.
Were there Crusade deniers like there are Holocaust deniers?
I don't think there were Crusades deniers. I think it's pretty clear that they happened. Yeah. So I believe we've touched upon this in a previous episode, but just briefly, it was when Christendom under the Pope were kind of summoned to wage war upon the encroachment of the Ottoman Empire, which was predominantly Islamic, and was like rising up, muscling in on mainland Europe. And so a great number of wars, holy wars, therefore crusades, and it was that to which Richard the Lionheart was most greatly associated. Now, again, certain versions will play with the idea of whether or not Robin of Locksley actually was in the Crusades or not. Well, again, we'll get to that.
So, Ian, can I check? Was he a real person?
No.
Oh, right, okay. Thanks, everyone. Join us next
week. Okay, so it has been looked into. Now, at the time, 12th century, Robin, Robert, Rob, very common names.
Is that where that comes from?
Sorry?
I thought Robin was its own name. It comes from Robert.
It's this very... how do I get into the various ways in which names kind of supplant into each other? The things is, with surnames, how you obviously have like Cartwright, like being, you know, both a profession and a name. A lot of, like, I mean, I'm a Wilson, so it would be son of a William, or if there were a trade making wills. Ah, there is, lawyers. That's weird, because my parents were not lawyers. Just another white-collar profession. But the whole idea is that forenames, they can be just various variations of the same kind of name and just split off. In the same way that you've got various spellings of John, and you've got Jonathans arising out of it, or you've got Ian is the Scots version of John, and even then they've got their own spelling of Ian. I've seen that with there's all sorts, really. But if you look through whatever records are available dating back that far, to which you really need ecclesiastical records, because that was really the main form of administration in your pre-Plantagenet times, and that of books of crime. The closest that we've had to a Robin Hood was a kind of Robert Hodd in the area, but even then there's nothing much of which to kind of structure everything that's come after. And really everything that's come after has been extrapolations on the earliest kind of ballads and texts and tales. So one of the earliest surviving ones is one from the 1400s called Robin Hood and the Monk. And so if it doesn't sound like the Robin Hood that you may think of, then again, bear in mind that this is the earliest version before it's had subsequent revisions. So the very basic synopsis is Robin goes to Nottingham for Mass, but has a dispute with Little John on the way. In Nottingham, he is spotted by a monk and captured. Little John, Much the Miller's son, and other merry men intercept the monk, kill him, and launch a successful plot to free Robin from prison. Robin and Little John are reconciled. The king and sheriff are left frustrated at Robin's escape, although they're impressed by Little John's loyalty. So there you go.
And that's the first.
It's not the first. It's one of the oldest surviving ballads.
Okay. Oh, right.
One of the most boring ones.
Well, I've only given you the synopsis.
There's only one death.
Ian. Fucking sing
Sorry?
it. Sing it. In Old English.
Sing it.
Kazoo it.
Yeah, there she comes. Tell you all a dreadful story.
Oh, no.
It's Gannon along the Scotswood Road.
Tell you about the
Yes.
hood.
Oh, just very quickly then, because we're not going to get this anywhere else in the episode. Apparently, Nottingham comes from Snottingham, which means the home of Snot's folk, who was an Anglo-Saxon chieftain, and then because of northern tradition, Norman tradition, even the S was dropped, and it became Nottingham, and that's crazy. There was a guy called Snot, and he was a chieftain, and now we've got a city after it.
And that particular change of dropping the S was violently opposed by the people of Scunthorpe.
More than one cunt in Scunthorpe.
My ex,
Scunthorpe,
for
you've
example.
been tankered.
Fuck you guys.
There. Anyway, so there were ballads such as A Gist of Robin Hood, spelt Hode, Robin Hood and the Potter, Rowling, you bloody thief, and then Robin Hood and the Sheriff of Nottingham. Also, one of the most famous of the ballads is the one I say introduces, but also kind of sees off in equal measure, is Robin Hood and Guy of Gisborne, in which Gisborne was an assassin sent to kill Robin Hood, but doesn't succeed, and Hood kills him instead. So again, over time, Gisborne's character has been revised to be more of a rival kind of lord figure, or at least someone who's a bit more than just a kind of hired hand who makes a one-off appearance. So Robin Hood, so whilst we don't have the full breadth of knowledge as to exactly how many ballads and texts there were about the legend, we do know that in the 15th century, therefore the 1400s, it was very popular in folklore, and particularly became associated with May Day. So to celebrate May Day, you know, with the maypole and everything, summer is a coming in, loudly sing cuckoo.
Right, not the James Bond character played by Grace Jones.
Correct. No, that's
Not that May Day. Okay.
that-
It's good to differentiate between these things.
Although we do know that in 200 years people will be dancing around a pole to celebrate Grace Jones.
Yes, yeah, I do all the time. She's wonderful.
Well, if the Bank of England doesn't behave, in about a year, I'll be dancing around the pole to pay for my fucking mortgage.
You can
Okay.
dance on my pole.
To pay for my mortgage? Happily.
No, just for recreational purposes.
So there were so the idea is that come May Day, people, revelers, would dress up in kind of green clothing as their kind of costumes for the festivities, and it was quite popular with the Tudors, because apparently in 1510, so this would have been a year into his reign, Henry VIII disguised himself as Robin with 11 courtiers and a maid Marian to surprise Catherine of Aragon. Yes?
Is that why it's called Greensleeves? That piece of music that Henry VIII wrote?
I mean, it would have been on... I mean, certainly... So Robin Hood was at the very least known to Henry VIII. Whether or not that was a particular inspiration for Greensleeves, Not sure, but
I
it's
have
possible.
further information as to why he is depicted wearing green.
Go for it.
So his distinctive attire, particularly in Lincoln green, it is called, was not just for practical reasons, but to also symbolize his outlaw identity. The green color was associated with the common people and his partisanship of the lower classes. His outfit, which included a simple linen t-shirt, durable tunic, and breeches, was designed for life in the forest and his role as an outlaw. The hood or cap, often depicted with a feather, was a symbol of his identity, setting him apart from the nobility and the sheriff of Nottingham. So, there you go.
Good stuff. Much obliged.
No worries. I'll stay quiet now.
So come the late Tudor era, and into the Stuarts, Robin Hood was basically the subject of a number of plays that were being put on, what with the growth of theatre throughout. James VI of Scotland, who would later become James I of England, was entertained by a Robin Hood play in Dullerton Castle, just outside of Edinburgh. And Robin Hood plays based upon the varying stories kept going on. Shakespeare made reference to Robin Hood in The Two Gentlemen of Verona and in As You Like It, and in a couple of the Henriade plays, which we touched on during the Wars of the Roses. And then this was kind of interrupted by the fact that when the Puritans got in, once Charles I had his head knocked off, the Puritans, didn't really like theatre, so they closed down a lot of the theatres. So even with the Restoration, Robin Hood being performed in plays didn't really start back up again. There wasn't a shot in the foot to really restart that kind of theatre once the plays were restored. Now, what did restore Robin Hood to popularity in I say popular culture to those who could read, is that there was a collection of various Robin Hood ballads that started happening in 1765 during the Age of Enlightenment. So a lot of the ballads were being purposefully collected and being put down into manuscript form, which hadn't previously happened. This was when the kind of the foundings of the popular idea of what the legend is was taking shape now. So this original work was done in 1765, although I should say that was getting down as much Robin Hood plays and poetry as possible, but amongst other ancient English poetry as well. The Robin Hood specific one came 30 years later in 1795, when Joseph Ritson published Robin Hood, a collection of all of the ancient poems, songs and ballads now extant relative to that celebrated outlaw.
That's a catchy title. Fucking hell.
Right, it does what it says on the tin, but it's just a very large tin. And it's this one that really hammered home. So this was kind of Ritson's kind of, way of setting out everything that he'd heard. This was the main way in which Robin Hood wasn't simply an outlaw in the disfavour of Prince John. This was one that really had the concept of stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, because this was set in and around the times of the French Revolution.
Yeah, I was wondering when we were going to get to that, because so far he's just killed people.
Me too.
He's just killed a mum and some other people.
Well, I was wondering when we'd cover the what is it like the motivations behind the story, does Robin Hood surge in popularity as inequality rises is probably like a question I'd love to ask.
As a populist figure.
Yeah, so like you know there's those studies that show that when I think it's Republicans are in power, zombie films tend to be when Republicans are in power, it tends to be vampire films tend to be more popular, and when Democrats are in power, it tends to be zombie films become more popular, based on like it's like this it taps in the fear changes based on who's in power in America generally, like what the type of films that Hollywood put out. And it is. There will be people listening to this who know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'll look it up for after the show. But that is a question I would ask about Robin Hood. Is that like this idea of stealing from the rich, giving to the poor? Does these ballads do they surge in popularity as inequality grows? Like,
I just noticed that Democrats being in power means Pedro Pascal is popular. And Republicans being in power means Sydney Sweeney is popular. Those are the things I'm noticing now. I wonder if that's the same.
Who knows? Vampires versus zombies. I don't know.
Tits versus Pedro Pascal.
They don't stand a chance. He'll grab him. He's anxious.
No. He is anxious. I'm feeling so nervous.
This is my stress
Your
relief.
Honor.
No. Honestly, this is my stress relief. Look, it's my coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically,
he has to do the noise
Sydney
as well.
Sweeney.
Yeah. Specifically her. Yeah. Bring her here.
Nice titties. Mind if I? That's I wish I wish I was rich enough to. Well, I can just grab my own tits. I can be anxious.
You can just do it now.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm anxious, I can just.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ian. Do you know? Can you answer my question? As times of trouble, does Robin Hood surge in popularity?
I think he says, "Let it be."
Yeah.
But I don't know the Democrat-Republican breakdown exactly. But
no, that's about vampires and zombies. So you've just mentioned that like the French Revolution's going on,
yes.
so that like Robin Hood becomes much more popular again, right?
Yes.
And I can see that line. That is not a hard line to draw. That this is a violent uprising against inequality by the lower classes to the elite, and unfortunately, some would say that it's just more of the same afterwards, and blah 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 blah, Les Miserables. But in times like, for example, 2010 with Russell Crowe, 2018 with Taron Egerton, 19 whatever with Kevin Costner, or like all throughout history, do stories like Robin Hood become more popular in the telling when inequality rises? Like, for example, now we live in an incredibly unequal time. Can we expect to see Robin Hood stories crop up again? I mean, we're covering it now, so...
Well, there is currently a Robin Hood series out there on Apple Plus TV.
No, no one watches Apple TV.
Well, I know,
amazing
but
shows,
it does at least
marketing.
answer Chris's question.
Yeah, so...
And I don't know the majority of the cast, except for the fact that the Sheriff of Nottingham is played by the immortal Sean Bean.
Oh my God,
yeah.
excellent. I might actually watch that.
Yeah. And again, it would probably go into the whole Yorkshire thing that I keep teasing. One other basically, I think the answer to your question is yes, Chris. I think the idea is that culture kind of can mirror society in that way, and to that extent that the Robin Hood folklore coming back into favour at this great time of citizen unease is probably not coincidental. What's also interesting is around the time of Ritten's publication of the Robin Hood ballads, a mate of his called Walter Scott goes on to write a novel called Ivanhoe. of which the themes are very similar, and Robin Loxley is indeed a supporting character.
Oh.
So, and Ivanhoe, again, is a novel that has been adapted many a time over. It was one of Roger Moore's early filmic / TV outings before he became James Bond.
Oh.
Yeah, the current Robin Hood TV series has been created by a man with the most English name ever, and it's Jonathan English. It's me, John English. Here I am. I'm going to make Robin Hood, and it's going to star Jack Patton, who is Australian, and Lauren McQueen, who she's English. She was in Hollyoaks.
Nothing more English.
So just going back to my utter tangent a second ago, so I found the evidence, and it is somebody looked back and did a plot. They plotted who was in power when zombie films and vampire films came out, and it turns out it's when Democrats are in power, in presidency, vampire films come out during that time, and when Republicans are in power, zombie films come out, because it's meant to be that is what represents the other side. So you've got like zombies, like a massive beings who want to consume everything in a sense, until nothing is left, which is the idea of like communism or what have you. Then a vampire, a solitary creature that sucks things dry. But I'll put it in our WhatsApp chat. But they've plotted pretty much every year after like most presidential elections, and they've plotted how many movies came out, how many of those were zombie movies, and how many of those were vampire movies, and what party was in power. And it's actually pretty compelling, which is just crazy. But yeah, sorry, I'll
That's absolutely
shut up
fine.
We'll get past the intro very soon.
Yes, the history is just the intro.
Nathan, you dick.
So we'll hurry forward into the 19th century, where the Robin Hood legend is now being consolidated and put into a bit more of a structural order, and the chronology. Specifically, they're being produced as children's novels. So there was a famous one in around 1820, based upon Ritson's work, and then there was further Robin Hood and Little John in 1840, which was adapted into French by Alexandre Dumas in 1872. More famous for the Three Musketeers and the Count of Monte Cristo, and then this puts it into the 20th century, and the 20th century is when we perhaps get a bit more culturally familiar. So, with regards to that then, again, because there's so much source material to mine, and because the early days of cinema were theatrical shorts and silent films, so there was Robin Hood and His Merry Men, the very first one, made in 1908. And then there were two different silent films in 1912 and another two in 1913. The very first theatrical feature was in 1922. It was still a silent film, but it was full length, and it starred the original swashbuckler Douglas Fairbanks. Now, this is a film I have seen, albeit about 10-15 years ago, and a lot of it is kind of retooled and made a bit more colourful and dynamic in the Errol Flynn version, but it is a good film, and there are two things of note, one of which is not only did Douglas Fairbanks star in this version. He also wrote and produced it. And then the other thing is that the guy who played Little John in the 1922 version was so good that he then went ahead and played Little John again in the Errol Flynn version in 1938. And I'm going to stop here for the 1938 version and ask, have you two seen the Errol Flynn version of Robin Hood?
I have not. I'm sorry. I didn't do my homework. I thought 1952 was impressive, but turns out...
It is.
Fucking 1908. I feel like a hipster. Like, just surface level.
I don't think I have, but I have seen some very old Robin Hood films with my nana on a Sunday, but I have no idea which one. I have a question. Do you think everyone was getting Robin Hood fatigue? You know, like how they've had superhero fatigue with Marvel films and DC. Yeah. Do you think people would be like, not another Robin Hood film? Like, can we not do anything else? Another one? Can we not, like, I don't know, do Genghis Khan or something else?
Well, I think with regards to the ones that I've just read out, the theatrical shorts was so, relatively such a new thing, then I'm thinking probably not. And then a lot of things that you went to the cinema for in those days, if it wasn't actually the news, because obviously this is before the advent of television, the other thing that you'd be watching would be adventure serials. So things like Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers, where basically it would be a bit like episodic television, but you'd be watching it one week and then going back for the next instalment the next week. But again, you didn't have a TV in your house, you had to go out to the cinema. So with regards to the difference between the two feature films, where Alan Hale played Little John in both of them, there was a gap between 1922 and 1938. So I think it would be a stretch if you were to watch the Errol Flynn version. So, Alan Hale again? Honestly, 16 years later.
No, it would be more
everywhere.
Like a good thing. Yeah, it would be good. It would be like Robert Downey Jr. returning as Doctor Doom now.
Yes.
People would be like, oh, okay.
Well, I want to see Robert Downey Jr. come back as Kirk Lazarus again. That's what I really, really want. What do you mean, you people?
Yeah, in a Marvel film, he needs to come back in Avengers Doomsday as Kirk Lazarus.
Kirk Lazarus. By the way, Tropic Thunder is free on YouTube right now for anybody who hasn't seen it. It is free to watch on YouTube.
It's in my DVD library, therefore.
It's great.
It's such a good film.
So what I'll say about the Adventures of Robin Hood, because this, for many people, is the definitive Robin Hood. People older than us, but even then, I think it's technically the best version of the film, notwithstanding my love for the animated Disney version. So it stars Errol Flynn, who's in proper throwing head back laugh mode with his hands on his hips whilst dressed in green tights and everything. And so we're talking the late 30s, so it's the studio system, and so a lot of the actors within the film have played off each other before. So the actress playing Maid Marian was Olivia de Havilland, and she co-starred with Errol Flynn in a total of 8 films over the course of their movie career, and this was their third pairing. In the same way that Guy of Gisborne is played by a British actor called Basil Rathbone, who immediately after this would then go on to be Hollywood's Sherlock Holmes for the best part of 10 years afterwards. And again, Basil Rathbone and Errol Flynn had been in a swashbuckling pirate film like 3 years before called Captain Blood. I would say that Flynn who's an Australian-American actor, is very well regarded in Northampton, which I know for a fact because of my brother going to university there and settling down thereafter. So Errol Flynn is kind of recognised there on the basis that he moved across to the UK before his Hollywood career really kick-started, and he was part of the Repertory Theatre in Northampton between 1933 and 1934. Now, in very, very brief terms, could do something on it at a later date, but rep theatres were basically theatres in whichever provincial town in England. The idea is you'd sign on to be an actor based at that theatre, and you'd do a different play every week or so, or something like that. That was how a lot of actors who, if they're still alive nowadays, are quite old. That's probably how they cut their teeth in the acting profession before they got like serious theatrical or television or film roles. And Flynn's time at the Northampton Repertory Theatre was cut short because he threw a female stage manager down a flight of stairs. So
what the fuck?
Now, here's the thing. Errol Flynn is not a good person.
Okay.
And he was well known when in his Hollywood career of being quite difficult, quite a drunk, and there was even a biography that came out about him because he died in 1959. He was relatively, I think he was only like early 50s when he died. But there was a biography that came out about him that alleges that he was a Nazi spy, which was based on fuck all, but it was actually published, and therefore had to subsequently be disproven. But the idea of Errol Flynn, a swashbuckling Hollywood star, secretly being a Nazi spy, was used as the kind of plot line for a film that I love from the early 90s called The Rocketeer, in which that character, so the villain of the piece, was played by Timothy Dalton just after he'd finished being Bond.
His short stint as Bond.
Short stint. A much underrated stint as Bond.
Yes, I agree.
I do recommend The Rocketeer. It's a very fun film.
Okay.
I've just got whiplash from learning about Errol Flynn there. So he played perhaps, and I just looked on my phone. I looked, and yeah, even I've slid down my chair again. Every time we're recording, like over the course of like an hour, I just slide down. Okay, yeah, I looked him up, and that's the iconic Robin Hood. Even as soon as I saw his face, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I know he is. And then I thought he looks a bit like Shaggy. So we went from him being the iconic Robin Hood to he used to do local theatre in Northampton. Then he threw a woman down the stairs. He might have been a Nazi spy. That's a bit of fucking whiplash.
Oh, he's Australian. Oh no, this makes sense now. Right.
You could have led with that.
Yeah, you just led with that, then you
it.
wouldn't have got whiplash. You would have just expected it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and that's also we should note as a link to a previous episode. It was co-directed by Michael Curtiz, who directed Casablanca.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Errol Flynn had married his ex-wife, therefore there was a bit of friction between them.
He married Curtis's
Yes.
ex-wife.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Um,
What
and-
is our last two episodes? As someone marrying a woman has ruined friendships twice in the last two episodes. Gary Gygax and now Dave Curtis. What the fuck? What's going on?
I honestly forgot about your episode for a second. I was thinking, who in the black metal community married anyone's wife? This didn't happen.
And how are they still alive?
They're all fucking losers.
And then also that explains that. So this is 4 years before Casablanca, but it also shows the working relationship between him and Claude Rains, who was Prince John in this film. And he is magnificently slimy and evil.
Oh
Claude
God,
Rains, who
there's
was
just so
Captain Louis in Casablanca.
there's so much worse things coming out about Errol Flynn that I'm reading now. That he worse than throwing somebody down the stairs.
Yeah.
He was a
What do you mean?
pedo.
What do you mean coming out? Like,
Well, not
you're
coming
the one
out.
late to this
I'm
party.
announcing it.
Yeah.
I am announcing it.
I'm
I've just
whistleblowing.
found it out now.
I'm whistleblowing stuff that's been public for decades.
He was a bit of basically.
Oh man, leave
Yeah,
the kids alone. Stop it.
I know. Did Pink Floyd die for nothing? They're not dead.
Well, so this has been, as I say, the kind of quintessential Robin Hood film for many a year. There wasn't another one until post World War II. 1946 is The Bandit of Sherwood Forest. Then there was a first Prince of Thieves, starring John Hall in 1948, which is apparently inspired on Alexandre Dumas' kind of interpretation of the folklore. And then there was a couple of other versions before we get to 1952, and the one that Chris likes so much, The Story of Robin Hood and His Merry Men. So, Chris, because I haven't seen it before, do you want to just give us an overview of this particular film and what the kind of plot beats of this one are?
Yes, the plot beats are that King Richard is present first, and he leaves his responsibility to Prince John, and he specifically says, "Please govern the land with leniency." And Prince John then straight away just switches straight away. He's like, "Yes." He's like, "Yes, I'll administer it to the letter of the law." And he says, "But temper it with understanding and like guidance." And then the current sheriff of Nottingham comes in to see the king.
Does he?
And
Which one's this? Was this Men in Tight Men?
This was yeah, I'm getting confused. I had to film my own version. It's just me shooting a load.
Oh my God.
Arrows.
So the current sheriff of Nottingham comes in and he says, "Me and my men want to follow you to the Holy Land." And the king says, "Of course, please do." So he says, "You'll need to find a new sheriff." So that's when Prince John gets his new sheriff of Nottingham, and he basically says, "Tax everybody to fuck and get the best archers you can to keep poachers out of Sherwood Forest." They then have a competition for a golden arrow, which I think is in the animated version as well.
It
is,
quite
yes.
a lot of versions.
Yeah, and they have a competition, and all the men who shoot the best get to become the new sheriff's posse. And some of the men who stand up against it and say, "No, I won't do that," they're then later ambushed by the sheriff's new guides and shot to death for standing up and saying that they won't change their colours. And then Maid Marian's in it and that kind of stuff. And the beats go on from there. The scene with John Little in the river is fantastic. Like, that's really good. And he says, like, and it's, but more overall, it's super, 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 super Christian dialogue.
Okay.
But it's like chivalric Christian, almost like romantic Christian stuff.
Okay.
As in, they're all doing this for glory, for God and honor, and it's like good Christian storytelling. Because by every sentence is like, by the grace of God, and everyone's like very virtuous, obviously apart from the sheriff and his men. And like I said, the sound design and the stage setting, it's very much in there of that era of Casablanca and Angels with Dirty Faces and M and stuff like that. When you're watching it, even though it's in colour, you very much know you're watching an old film. And it, for me, more than the Disney film, which had a lot of whimsy and heart, this was more akin to a proper like a proper heroic story almost, rather than like a load of whimsy. And like there's not as much comedy. There's little bits of comedy here and there, but it's much more of it's played a little bit straighter, I think. And for that, it's like a feel good kind of hero film. And I mean, you can tell how much I liked it, I think.
Yeah. Interesting you mentioned Angels with Dirty Faces. The guy who was originally in the frame for the 1938 film would have been James Cagney. But instead they go with the problematic Errol Flynn.
Yeah.
He will be dead.
Oh, yeah. He
died in like 50s, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think 1959. But yeah, long dead. Dead.
Oh well.
So, following that particular film, most of the Robin Hood adaptations, amusingly, come from Hammer Studios, who you might know best from the phrase Hammer Horror.
Hammer Horror, yeah.
Indeed.
This was like golden age of cinema around now, wasn't it?
Yes, the 50s and 60s. So you've got your classic Universal monster films, and then you've got the British version of Hammer Horror, which would usually star a combination of Christopher Lee or Peter Ustinov. And they weren't allowed to reuse the same designs. So when you think of Frankenstein, you'll be thinking of the Universal Boris Karloff look rather than whatever the hell Christopher Lee is dressed up as Frankenstein. So there were 3 Robin Hood films. In fact, Hammer's very first colour film was the 1954 The Men of Sherwood Forest. And then there were other versions in 1958, 1960, 1967 and 1969. Also in 1969, The Erotic Adventures of Robin Hood, a softcore pornographic adaptation. Originally,
search that.
Was that the one I'd put the thing? Was that the one I'd put? Sorry, Ian.
Originally titled The Ribald Tales of Robin Hood.
Was that the one where I'd posted the poster into our group chat?
Yes, you did. Yeah. You did.
Okay.
There were quite a few fun names there.
Hell yeah. I think there was one of the titles was The Bawdy Tales. Was it? Is
Something
that right?
like that, yeah.
Yeah. There is a lot of porn parodies. If you want to talk about that, I can talk about that.
Goodness me, I've just turned safe search off. There's all sorts going on in this.
No men in tight men, though.
Well, they're all bound. Ropes and chains and all sorts.
Well, yeah, duh. How else do you administer justice?
Oh, with an iron fist.
Well, it's rubber. It's vulcanized rubber, but yeah, a fist.
Yeah, not back then. It wasn't vulcanized rubber. It was made of iron.
Right. So moving on.
Carry on.
1973, we have the animated Disney Robin Hood.
The best.
The one that we're all very familiar with. Nathan, why don't you walk us through this one?
This is a very cautionary tale of potentially biting off more than you can chew as a king. We don't see... Do we see Richard at the beginning? We don't see him at the beginning at all. We hear about him being off, He goes... Robin is walking through the forest. Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest. Oodalally, golly, what a day.
He's going to get the kazoo, wasn't he? Oh, right. Oodalally,
Oodalally, golly, what a day.
Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest.
But yeah, it's just about many of his adventures and the ways that he thwarts Prince John and directly steals from his cavalry or his many trails that he's doing in very silly Bugs Bunny-esque ways, using a lot of drag, and very, very silly things like that. He is a master of disguise in this one. They don't
Do you know what?
recognize him whatsoever.
What I do
Yeah.
like about this film, and I think modern films can learn a lot from this, and I'm 100% serious, they do not waste any time on any origin story. It's like he is fully fleshed out. He is the Robin Hood. He is like him, and he's there. He's badass. He can do everything. Like he's just cool as shit, straight on. Like he literally, like, as soon as he's in the film, he's like, "I'm Robin Hood. I've got a whole established backstory. Fuck yeah." And there's no origin. There's no waste on an origin. So even the 1952 film did that. They were like, let's give him an origin. But no, not these guys. They were like, nah,
Yeah,
he's a
and
fox. Foxes are cool.
he's a fox, and he happens to just so meet the only other fox who is in the entire woods, and she's a hottie. Those two start to get it on. He gets Well, they all get imprisoned, don't they? Lots of people get imprisoned. He frees them while also at the same time stealing all the taxes back from Prince John. This is after the competition. There's a big fight. They think he's dead. He's not dead. Mummy's castle burns down. The end.
I just want to point out for the record, Your Honour, 1 hour and 18 minutes into recording, he said he's not a furry. He's mentioned 2 animals he wants to fuck.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I haven't even talked about that little turtle yet.
I thought that turtle was so fun. Like they were great, and I think just the cuteness of those animals as well, like the animation and the like the visual of that film.
Yeah, it's great.
Phenomenal.
The music's great. Whistle Stop as a whistling tune I whistle it all the time at work. It is such a lovely little jaunty whistle to whistle.
Yeah, what did you call me the other day when I'd said you call me a twat? No, you call me something.
Thick cunt.
You think that was it? Yeah, because because like this week was the first time I'd seen this film. I'd never seen the animated version before, so I sat down with my wife and my daughter. Me and my daughter watched it for the first time. My wife's been watching it since she was like a little girl.
That's cool.
Me and my daughter watched it for the first time. We both absolutely loved it. But the whistling bit, I've only ever heard on the Jackass films, so I thought it was from like the Jackass films. When I told my co-hosts, I was callously abused. Rightfully so. I mean, right?
Yeah,
but
I don't even recognize that from the Jackass films.
I think it's from Jackass 3.5 during one of the montage scenes, and it's a film I've watched many, many times. So, just in the same way as like if you want to be dumb, you got to be tough.
Yes, that's it.
I'm surprised you went to Jackass rather than as a man of the internet. You would know one of the early memes of the hamster dance.
Oh.
That's not Whistle Stop, is it?
It is.
Holy shit, it is. Wow, I'm the thick cunt now.
But also, like, it's been a week discovery because I've been watching more anime. I've been watching One Piece, but I've been watching the edited version called One Piece that cuts out a load of filler. But anyway, loads of the music on One Piece I recognise from all sorts of videos and stuff like that I never realised it was to do with One Piece. It's like very iconic music. So I'm just piecing the puzzle together for music and shit in my life.
I mean, I'm not going to say too much on this particular iteration on the basis that I've done a full breakdown of it on another podcast. A friend of mine from podcasting of yore sat down and did one of the entirety of all the animated Disney films, and he got in guest hosts to contribute for certain films. So I contributed to the Robin Hood film as well as Dumbo and Basil the Great Mouse Detective.
That's a good one. I don't like Dumbo. We'll move on then, but we'll just say It's great. It's still very, very watchable, and it can still wow audiences anew.
And I'll also say that podcast is called Part of Your World. If you want to,
just link me and I'll put it in the. It'll be in the episode description.
Sure.
But yeah, also as well, this film, as we've mentioned, uncommon amounts of furry awakenings from this. Uncommon amounts. I think it's because of the two hot foxes.
I think there's just a lot of projection. There's just so much projection.
What the fuck would my first sauna is Akuma from Tekken. That would what my first sauna would be.
Well, he is a romantic, so I can understand that. He is a hopeless romantic.
Moving on from there was a live-action film 3 years later, a fairly interesting one, which I've not got around to seeing yet, called Robin and Marian, which looks at older versions of Robin and Marian, as played by Sean Connery and Audrey Hepburn.
He likes hitting women.
Oh, God.
Not to mention Ronnie Barker playing Friar Tuck.
That's a great casting.
I'll say. And it makes Sean Connery's cameo in the next film seem all that more appropriate. Because whilst we have had various TV series over the course of the 70s, there was... do you know the Robin Hood, riding through the glen TV theme song? No? Okay, well, I just made a pillock of myself. That was from a TV series in the 50s called The Adventures of Robin Hood. In 1975... there were 2 different ones. One was a 6-episode BBC serial called The Legend of Robin Hood, with a British sci-fi actor called Paul Darrow playing the Sheriff of Nottingham, which is very amusing to me, if no one else. Then there was also that same year When Things Were Rotten, with an imbecilic Robin Hood, which was produced by Mel Brooks. You may or may not have some,
Bugs Bunny guy.
Robin Hood connection later on. There was also, on a Connery bent, Robin of Sherwood between 1984 and 1986, where there were 2 different protagonists. So there was Robin of Locksley, as played by an actor called Michael Pred, and then at the end of one of the series, they take the brave decision to kill off Robin of Locksley and have him replaced by Robert of Huntingdon, who is an alternate version of Robin Hood in the Folklore. And he was played by Jason Connery, who was Sean's son. From there, we get to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
I rewatched that earlier today.
Yeah, me too. Like we're both fresh off that one. Have you seen it? Have you seen it, Nathan?
I mean, yes, long ago.
Yeah, Kevin Costner. Like
Mm-hmm.
There's no attempts at any point in those films to be English. There is no fucking attempts by anybody in any. Alan Rickman doesn't even sound English in it.
That's fair.
It's just fun fact. One of the things I love to do when I watch a film is I love to look while I'm watching the film. I look at the trivia page in IMDb because it's just one of my hobbies. And Alan Rickman had turned down that film twice until they said, "Look, just do whatever you want with the character."
Yeah.
And to be fair, like I think you should do that with actors more often because like that sheriff is silly in such a scary way. He's like, do you know when he's like, close the gates, and then the guard doesn't do it in time, so he just punches the fuck out the guard in front of everyone. It's proper slapstick, isn't it? The way like he just punches fuck out of him, and then like he rips his cloak and everything as he's walking away.
Locksley, I'm gonna cut your heart out with a spoon. Why a
cuts to the
spoon,
next scene.
cousin? Why not a knife? It's blunt, it'll hurt him more. Yeah.
Then when he kills his cousin later on, he's like, at least I didn't use a spoon.
Yeah, that's the first time I caught that. So,
It's good.
It's so that film, obviously, the power ballad performed by Bryan Adams, "Everything I Do It For You." It caused that song to be number one for something like fucking 18, 19 months or something like that.
weeks,
It was the song.
Yeah.
It was, well,
Still
no,
going
it was
strong.
a very, very,
It was
very, very,
one of
very
the
long time.
longest consecutive number ones for quite a long time. It was
16 consecutive weeks.
Yeah, and then something similar happened a few years later with Four Weddings and a Funeral, with Wet, Wet, Wet's Love Is All Around, lasting like the best part of and the only reason it didn't go on longer than it did was that Wet, Wet, Wet personally withdrew it from sale, so because they were getting sick of it themselves.
So this song is still the longest interrupted run in history as of 2026.
Right.
Apparently at number one, 16 consecutive weeks. It was number one when I was born.
Oh, okay.
And October of 1991. Yeah.
Then there was that massive resurgence when that farmer made the YouTube video of it. Do you remember when he made that? It was like one of the first
No.
viral. It was one of the first like viral YouTube videos of a farmer recreated like the whole music video for like his ex-partner or something, and he was like flipping tires and shit in a big sign saying like "I love you" and stuff. And then Family Guy then parodied that video in an episode as well. So like that song is just deeply embedded in the zeitgeist, I think. Maybe
It's
not the
still on
zeitgeist now,
Smooth
but
FM's most played songs as well.
I listen to it
yeah.
regularly. Like, yeah, it's.
I don't know. It's fucking shit.
The thing is, I'd missed it in the film today. I'd completely like, fucking zoned out. And Becca, my wife, she was like, "Oh, look, there's that Bryan Adams song," and I was like, "Oh, what?
Yeah.
I missed it." Like, such a good song, though.
Also in 1991 was a rival Robin Hood film starring Patrick Bergin. No, me neither. And a very young Uma Thurman as Maid Marian.
Oh,
This would be pre-Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
let's see.
Yeah, so there we go. And then 2 years later, we get a return interest from Mel Brooks in Robin Hood for Robin Hood Men in Tights. Which
Very silly.
very much takes the piss out of both Prince of Thieves and the Errol Flynn version as well. And that stars Kerry Yules as Robin Hood, better known as Wesley from The Princess Bride, which almost certainly got him the part, and many more.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave
in there as
Chappelle,
well.
yes,
Yeah, Dave
in
Chappelle.
the Moorish side character note that I'm not sure it began with Prince of Thieves, but was becoming more and more of a thing.
Oh, sorry. One thing I did want to talk about as well,
Yeah.
especially with Prince of Thieves, is there's this kind of like conspiracy theory, right? That we were so close to identity politics only became like a massive thing in our culture after like the 2008 financial crisis, when we started to like blame the rich and stuff like that, right? And it started to be a question of why we're bailing out these big banks and these billionaires and stuff. And then it's like a conspiracy theory that identity politics exploded into the zeitgeist and media coverage as a way to divide people. And prior to that, people have pointed at loads of films in Hollywood and said, like, look at how much of a thing race and sexuality and religion didn't used to be as much of a thing. Like it would be like you'd have all the time. Like there'd be good case studies on it, like Streets of Philadelphia, for example, and dealing with AIDS and stuff like that, or like there'd be American History X and dealing with like that subject matter. But then you'd have films that were just about stories rather than identities a lot of the time. Rush Hour was like one of the better examples of like how you can, like, nobody was like getting offended about it and stuff. And then I thought it was amazing that looking at it in 2026, when identity politics and our world is so divisive in loads of different ways, because, well, for many reasons. But I was so nicely surprised, especially when you look back and everything's like, oh, that was problematic in history, just to see how, like, skillfully and gracefully and integral to that story, having a Muslim guy who was very much Muslim was like this one of the central tenets of his character, and he was like easily like one of the most badass people in the whole film as well. And it's just it made me think, like, would they redo that now? Because we have a lot of instances where they say, oh, that wouldn't get made now, like Tropic Thunder, for example. We were talking about that earlier. Like, oh, that wouldn't get made now. And then I think this is the other side of it as well. It's like, ooh, could that get made now? Like, could you do it in that way where it was, he is a really good story we're telling, and he's a really good character, and here is one of the aspects of his character that he is a Muslim in a country where someone says like, oh, are you the savage? And he's like, well, and Robin Hood's like, well, no more than we are. And even Friar Tuck is like, turns out I'm godly, but I'm not worldly, like learning from him and stuff. And yeah, I don't know, did that ever register with you guys? Like looking at it in a divisive identity politics driven world now, where you're like, oh, that was so fucking cool. Like, you got all these different characters mixing, and you've got really cool characters who are cool, and then happen to have different, like really different things, and you think, could that get made now? Like, could somebody write that skillfully now?
I have two answers to this. One being, I think it was written well, much like much of the cinema we have now is still written well. We just didn't have fucking idiots on the internet whinging about everything all the time, picking everything piece by piece and complaining about race and complaining about people of all different walks of life being in these films and complaining about it being woke. We didn't have it. If this film was made today, yes, we would have those people who would complain about it. For example, the most recent Mortal Kombat film, apparently it's great for a Mortal Kombat film, which isn't saying much. The bar isn't very high. But those who are complaining about the fact that it is losing box office figures because of the state of cinema now, the picture that they're putting on is a race-swapped Jade, which is Jade is a character from Mortal Kombat. She's the only character within the whole thing that has been somewhat race-swapped, and she's in it for about 5 minutes. Like, it's so insignificant. They're not posting any pictures of any of the main characters or anyone who is integral to the story. The internet is the fucking problem when it comes to this. And number two, can it get made today? If I went up to a bunch of scriptwriters and said, look, here is this film, I want to make it. They'll say, no, we can't make that. That is Robin Hood and the Prince of Thieves. It's already been made. And most of these actors are already dead. So that's not allowed.
Right, I'll take you. Right, your first answer, that is astute as hell. Your second answer, fuck off. Yeah. Oh no. I think. Yeah. I don't think I'd ever considered that. I think the internet is the problem.
Internet's a big thing.
I hate the internet.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I will say,
I think you're right. Yeah.
Just to add to that, though, Chris, is that the 2018 version amalgamates both the Morgan Freeman character and the character of Little John together, which is a brave choice, and it doesn't work. But it has been attempted at the very least. The idea to keep that aspect of the kind of running film law Because again, this version in the 2018 version has Robin at a crusade, and therefore that is where he meets this particular character who comes with him back to England.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. But that also does kind of feed into that like conspiracy theory about like, you know, identity politics are pushed so much through online sources as like a way to divide people. That
Well, they were started by
films.
Jeffrey Epstein.
He created the poll board on 4chan, didn't he?
It is within the Epstein files that he, as Chris said, created the poll board on 4chan and created Gamergate by getting angry gamers on his side to go into the identity politics and culture war side of things, which has destroyed the reviewing side of video games as a whole. Like, we've always had these narratives to tell these different types of stories. A game me and Chris were just talking about, Abe's Odyssey, a wonderful game, all very anti-capitalist, very anti lots and lots of things. If it was made now, it would be cried about and screamed about being woke, communist / socialist propaganda, because this has just been drilled into the pits of the internet where the loudest people will have a platform because it makes money.
So what it seems like we need is some kind of decentralized internet where it can't be controlled by like these insidious figures. And it sounds like we should really look into Abe's Odyssey a bit further. So luckily, the next few episodes from me and Nathan is going to be a look into the Oddworld Abe's Odyssey world, and we're going to talk about Web3, a decentralized web platform. Anyway, back to Robin Hood, because we just sound... I can see from Ian's face, he's thinking, these two are fucking lunatics. What is going on?
My arms are folded. I'm angry. I'm pissed. I've been pissed off. I need to...
That Jeffrey Epstein?
He's just a bad person.
He's
Morgan
really
Freeman?
ticked me off.
No. Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, he is. He's a silly sausage.
Yeah. I hope he gets what's coming to him.
Yeah, when they find him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he escaped. He escaped.
Okay, well, I don't have too much more to go through. 2010, there was a Robin Hood version directed by self-important local director Ridley Scott.
Wiggly Scott.
Who has made some of the greatest films and then forever started tinkering with them.
He got
yes, and some of the shittest.
Yes.
We went to the same school, though, me and Ridley Scott, not at the same time, but yeah, we went to the
you're
same
looking
school.
Well.
And my great-grandmother grew up something like 2 streets away. Apparently they played together a bit as kids, which is very interesting. But yeah, he went to the school we went to doesn't exist anymore. Got knocked down, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Did you go to school with any famous people, Ian?
I went to school with the guy who... Not the guy who immediately followed Neil Buchanan from presenting Art Attack, but the guy after him.
Right.
You can't even remember his name.
No, I know his name. I just don't know if you guys will. His name was Jasa Wuluwalia. It was a kind of Indian name. And he's done a separate documentary film exploring being half white English and half Indian. Other than that, it's largely rugby players. Like people who play
that would make sense, yeah. I don't recognise him. I'm looking at him now. I don't think I watched Art Attack then.
No, and my era was Neil Buchanan.
Same.
But the 2010 version, it was going to be something radically different. It was going to be called Nottingham, and it was going to look at the Robin Hood folklore from the Sheriff of Nottingham's perspective. And then Ridley Scott got bored of the idea and just said, you know what, Russell, just play Robin Hood instead. And so the version of this story has Robin, not of Locksley, but Robin Longstride, as one of the archers fighting alongside Richard Lionheart in the Crusades, along with a couple of his established merry men. He gives Richard his honest impression of the validity of the Crusades, for which he's put in the stocks. Then Richard the Lionheart is killed in battle. Robin and merry men escape back to England. En route, the king's lot are betrayed by Mark Strong, for he is a villain. And Robin has to pretend to be Robin of Locksley to present the crown to Prince John, as played by Oscar Isaac, of all people. And
Moon Knight.
Oscar Isaac decides to heavily tax the land to pay for the Crusades, and in doing so emboldens the men around the Sheriff of Nottingham, as played by Matthew McFadden. But it turns out that Mark Strong is basically conspiring to get English barons to conspire with France to take over England. So there's an uneasy alliance between Robin and Prince John to stop this from happening. And Kate Blanchett is marrying. And it's a film. It's not a bad film.
Yeah.
It's not it has none of the hallmarks of... It's basically Ridley Scott taking basically tropes of the franchise and then making his own damn film, for he is Ridley Scott.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think it feels like they've already written the script, they've already done everything, and they just kind of slap an IP on there.
Basically.
And say this is now about Robin Hood. They do that with Resident Evil a lot.
And Hellraiser as well.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Fucking infamous. So, yeah, those two franchises. Although the newest Resident Evil film looks... It looks different enough that I want to see it, because, you know, it's like they've already said, like, we want to tell a separate story somewhere else, which, yeah, fine. All right.
That is another way of saying we already wrote this film and we've slapped an IP on top of it. It's got absolutely nothing to do with Resident Evil, once again, apart from a few mentions of certain corporations and certain viruses and things like that. It's a lot of fucking bollocks. Give me Chris Redfield. Give me Wesker. Give me Nemesis. Give me Mr. X.
I did see someone today had said, like, Jensen Ackles would make a perfect Leon Kennedy, like an older Leon Kennedy.
He would be pretty
awesome.
good. Yeah, he would.
Like, it'd have to be like Resident Evil 4 onwards. It couldn't be 2. Sorry, Ian.
Derailing again.
Okay, well, we'll power on through to get to the end, and now we can get to your episodes and all. The 2018 Robin Hood, as previously mentioned, Taron Egerton, Jamie Foxx, Ben Mendelsohn as the Sheriff of Nottingham, Bono's daughter as Maid Marian, and Tim Minchin as Friar Tuck. How could they go wrong?
I love Tim Minchin.
How could they go wrong? They go wrong. Because it's not stylistically set anywhere. It's like filmed in France and Dubrovnik. Here we are in Nottingham. No. And if you like a lot of violence against CGI horses, this is the film for you. It's
just someone watches Seabiscuit goes, I fucking hate that film.
So this is currently on Netflix. Should you feel the need.
Well, if they want to watch horses die, they should just watch Lord of the Rings. Isn't that right, Chris?
I mean, there's like one main horse that dies and he kills a king. So
no, I'm talking about in the filming.
Did a lot of horses die during the filming?
Lots of them died.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ooh,
we'll get into that another time.
Coming soon to the drunk history of...
well, yeah, I didn't know that.
You'll need a stiff drink when you see the number.
Sorry, Ian, talking about the incongruence stuff. So you were saying, like, filmed in Dubrovnik. Prince of Thieves...
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on. Well, Prince of Thieves did that as well. Like, I put in the group chat. So, like, there's one scene where they're in, like, they wash up on the shores, which is the White Cliffs of Dover.
Now,
Right?
in fairness,
And then,
I know what you're going to say, but go on.
yeah, but I understand, right? You got to wash up somewhere, so that's fine. But the next scene, it's like they're continuing the conversation. They're going along Hadrian's Wall, which is at the border between England and Scotland, which is fucking nowhere near Dover.
As far away as could be, one could argue.
In fact, yeah, from one end of England to the other. And in fact, nowhere near Nottingham, which, spoiler, Ian said at the beginning, is in the East Midlands.
Yep.
And then, not only that, they then show one of the most iconic sites in North England, which is Sycamore Gap, which R.I.P. to the tree. Like Sycamore Gap, which is unbelievable. And then, you see people, them coming over the plains, on like over the fields on the horses and stuff. And it's like, there is no forests anywhere around this place. There is shrubland. And there is, like, a cliff. It was so fucking weird. Like,
now, in fairness, that is absolutely correct. And he is saying that the Sycamore Gap area does represent some of Loxley lands, which is therefore nearby Nottingham. Bullshit. It was still in England, at least. And they still did, like, filming around Nottinghamshire and South Yorkshire and everything for the locations in Prince of Thieves. The 2018 version of Robin Hood, it's not even so much that you couldn't place it in a particular country. You couldn't even necessarily place it in a particular point in time either. Because whilst there aren't, like, cars or electricity or anything, there are people wearing T-shirts and, like, regular shirts.
no.
And there's a casino at one point.
That's weird. Sometimes that can work for a film, though. It Follows, one of the best horror films I've ever seen. That's purposefully not set during any particular time period, and to give it this kind of, like, surreal nightmare quality.
Sure.
Which that really works for it, but I don't know. Like, I don't think I'd be comfortable watching Robin Hood and someone's prancing around in a shirt. A tunic is as far as I'll go.
It's difficult. That's what I'll say. And also, I would say, because I did perhaps touch upon this earlier, is that Sherwood Forest is now quite depleted, given that quite a lot of industry's grown up around there. Nottinghamshire, South Yorkshire, very well known for coal mining back in the day, so a lot of Sherwood would have been decimated for that purpose. But there's quite a big cultural thing about whether or not, it's more of a tale to do with Nottinghamshire than it is to do with Yorkshire, because Nottingham is actually quite a way away from Sherwood Forest. It's a lot closer to Mansfield, which isn't worth visiting. But I mean, as an East Midland person, I'd say neither is Nottingham. But it's just that kind of local rivalry kind of thing. But it is very close to the border, and there's also Loxley itself. Various places called Loxley are in South Yorkshire, and then there's also quite a lot of links in the folklore to Barnsdale, which again is, Barnsdale Bar is like closer to Doncaster than it is to Nottingham. And in fact, the currently closed airports between Doncaster and Sheffield, which I believe politicians are trying to get reopened, is also known as the Robin Hood Airport as well.
Yeah, I flew from there once to go to Amsterdam, and when I was a sprightly 18-year-old, and my only experience of Doncaster when I went there was there was 3 buildings next door to each other. One was a nursery, one was an old people's home, and one was a funeral home. And they were next door to each other.
Big
and
stages.
That was my experience of Doncaster.
What a leap.
And I was like, I don't want to come back here.
Yeah, what a leap. That's like the in Wall's End they've got a Chinese takeaway opposite of vet.
Oh no, that's
We
that's
don't go
fucked
to
up.
that one. I want to just this isn't relevant, but it is relevant to something I just said before because I don't like giving out false information. It was during the filming of The Hobbit that an estimated 27 animals died, including horses, goats, chickens, and sheep. And it wasn't during the production, but the animal wranglers who were looking after them were housing them in awful conditions, which led to their deaths. And also, one horse died during the filming on set of Rings of Power. So that's sad.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
No,
But I
that's
just don't want to give
horrible.
out, I don't want to talk shit. So,
The Rings of Power,
Well,
that's horrific.
yeah, true. Yeah. Great music though. Great music. Like so. That's something I won't ever discuss that show on my other podcast. I just it's not worth it. But the music is fantastic. I'll give it that much.
So
But, yeah.
there is one film in production to do with Robin Hood, and this one sounds a bit more like how Nottingham, the original Nottingham film, was going to go. It's called The Death of Robin Hood, which would have Hugh Jackman in the title role,
Right.
with Bill Skarsgård as Little John. And the premise is an aged Robin Hood grapples with his past life of crime and murder while in the hands of a mysterious woman after being critically injured. And this will be based on the Robin Hood's death ballad, which famously ends with him shooting off a final arrow saying, "Wherever this lands, please bury me there." And stick a gigantic centre parks on top of it, if you wouldn't.
So now we have fucking Pennywise as Little John.
Yes.
That I don't know. The Skarsgård. I don't know. I enjoy
They're
that.
taking over.
Yeah, that Welcome to Derry was a fantastic series. Have you seen
Yeah,
that?
yeah, it was good.
Clips
I
of
enjoyed
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know
Really,
it's really
really
good. It is great. Very tense and silly.
But I don't know that Ian, the way you've just described that synopsis for the one in production, it just sounds like Oscar bait.
You reckon?
Like it does. It sounds very much like.
You reckon
it
a Robin
sounds
Hood
like-
film could get an Oscar?
I think it could.
Maybe
with
could
Hugh
these
Jackman,
days.
Bill Skarsgård, and right, it's going to sound weird, but it sounds like it could have been one of the trailers at the beginning of Tropic Thunder. Like we keep going back to it. Do you know, like you've got
Yes.
Satan's Alley,
With
where like
Tobey
with
Maguire.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
and Tobey Maguire. Like I don't know, like it. That just sounds like that's a way for Hugh Jackman, who in Les Mis we've seen give fantastic monologues,
Yep.
to be laid dying by a fire, and as he laments over his life and he gives some monologue about forgiveness or ready to meet God with a clear conscience, as they say in Prince of Thieves about his dad who was accused of worshipping the devil,
Yep.
blah 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 blah. That just sounds like just that synopsis sounds like something AI would spit out if I said, can you write me a film that would win an Oscar, please?
Well, coming to the Oscars near you.
But then again,
We'll see.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know much about the Oscars. I've only known one Oscar, and he was a Labrador.
So, I've just to get us caught up on the TV shows. There was a one where the guy who played Will Scarlet in Men in Tights went on to play the title role in The New Adventures of Robin Hood. That was in the late 90s. It was a similar tone to like Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess, so that kind of thing. There was a Robin Hood TV show on the BBC in the mid-noughties with Richard Armitage, later to be of Hobbit fame, as Guy of Gisborne, and Keith Allen as the Sheriff of Nottingham. There was a Canadian TV series called Robin, with a Y, Hood, created by music video director X, that reimagines Robin Hood as a female rapper The Hood being a masked hip-hop band living in a working-class area in a fictional city of New Nottingham and sparring with antagonists including the sheriff and a property tycoon named John Prince. It lasted one series.
That just sounds fucking awful.
Yeah.
That sounds like something you'd see on a billboard in Cyberpunk 2077 when you were walking past it. Like, that's that's dystopian as fuck.
Yeah, that sounds like a load of shit.
And the last thing is the aforementioned current Robin Hood series with Sean Bean as the Sheriff of Nottingham, which started last year and has been renewed for a second series. So,
Created by Mr. John English.
Yes, indeed.
Johnny English.
To close off before I hand over to you guys, just to share in what an impact Robin Hood has had on my life. If you'll turn to our group chat and the photographs that I've put in there.
Yes.
I've already looked, yeah. I've got the birthday picture of you up on my second monitor, which is my big monitor.
Right. So that is me having turned 6 years old with some of my friends at the time.
Look at his little ginger hair.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that is adorable. Like, you've sent that to two dads as well. So,
Yes.
it's just like, oh, that's so fucking cute.
Yeah.
Like, your mates are all dressed in green as well.
Yeah.
Like, have you got green cups? Oh, look at all those plastics, you horrible bastards.
It was the early 90s. We didn't know any better.
Oh, that is so cute, man. Look at your little grin as well.
Yeah.
And the Sherwood Suite, is that in your house?
That is my spare room.
Nice.
And above the bed, I have a photo frame set with Robin Hood characters, all taken from different films and or TV shows.
Yeah, I see Little John from the animated series. I see Alan Rickman. I see the statue.
And just while we're looking at that as well, there's another thing that Ian won't tell you about how Robin Hood's had an impact on his life. He's too shy to mention it, but he does. He loves to make a game of it. He frequently shoots wealthy people in Newcastle with arrows.
Yeah.
He's got to do a bit of bother over it, but it is a pastime.
Which is why I adopt the posh persona to fit in best I can, because they'll never know. Otherwise,
They'll never know.
the other picture instantly are leaves taken from Sherwood Forest, that are framed up on the wall of the Sherwood Suite.
Okay,
Now,
that's just you picking things up now.
It's not exactly on the same scale as the Sycamore Gap, but once they do properly mould and the lucite fades away, then I'll just go back and do it again. And nobody
Very
can
nice.
stop me.
I'll do it again.
Yes. But to sum up, that is everything I have got on Robin Hood.
Well, riveting.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit disappointed to find out that he is not real, or he was not real, which is to be expected, I guess, because we can't have anything good, can we? Which is a shame.
He's an idea.
Yeah,
It's a
we never even
symbol.
talked about Batman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why Robins? Because I'm scared.
Robins
of them.
frighten me, Alfred. It's time my enemies learned a taste of my true dread. I say that for fucking any superhero nowadays.
I know you do, Ian.
It's like,
I know
why-
you fucking do. You said it about bread yesterday.
Why irons must have
Start.
Stark.
Stark.
Irons frighten me, Jarvis. It's time my
Yeah.
enemies shared the taste
Yeah.
of my true dread.
You think,
Well, we'll do it
you
from a
think he's-
different superhero in that case. And Robin Hood is an idea, and ideas are bulletproof. From V for Vendetta.
Ah. Yeah, no, Ian did actually write that, say that same thing about bread yesterday.
I did.
It's he will literally put that Alfred quote into anything.
I will.
Why Fosters? Australians scare me, Alfred.
That's
just
true,
in case
no
they
one
throw
I
you
know
down
they
a flight
don't
of
drink
stairs.
Fosters.
Thankfully, they're all the way over there. They can't get me.
Down there, upside down.
Exactly.
But if anyone, so that when going back to that idea of that just being in the cinema as well for like news and serials and that, if anyone finds himself in the northeast of England, Beamish Open Air Museum has a cinema where you can go and watch like things like that, which is really really cool. But I'll jump the gun here, Ian. I think that was amazing. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. I didn't know it was ballads, and I didn't know it was a collection of ballads. I always thought it was one definitive tale that I was going to find out about, and it turns out that's not the case at all. It's like it's fucking haikus of I killed a monk and fell out with my pal.
Yeah,
like that's about it. Like it's yeah, but I've learned a lot today. Thank you for chronicling it as well.
it's all right.
And it's been nice that we've got a good mix of the history and the film as well, which is good.
I haven't
A mix of
wasted
the
my
history,
weekend.
the film, and us talking bollocks in between.
Yes, we have.
We have.
Talked bollocks.
My weekend.
It's a lot of Robin Hood. Yeah, well, I'm glad you
5
enjoyed it.
DVDs.
Plus the bad one on Netflix.
I will also thank you. I enjoyed that. That was good fun. I didn't actually realize just how much Robin Hood media there was out there. And no, I'm not going to catch up on all of it. Not at all. No, I'm going to stick to the animated Disney one. And that's about it for me, really, when it comes to Robin Hood. I might watch Throbbing Hood. I might watch the erotic adventures of Robin Hood. And when it eventually comes out, I might watch Men in Tight Men when Chris makes it.
Right, watch it. You'll be starring in it.
I hope I'm not the type man, because I am not typecast for that.
Nathan's what we call in the industry blown out.
Yeah, I am. I could be Little John, if you know what I mean.
It's not often you can tell with blokes when they've had 2 kids, but with Nathan, you can.
With me, yeah, I pushed them both out me bum.
Oh, disgusting. Yeah, no, that was a great episode. Thank you, Ian.
More tea for you.
Now, for our next episode, I know everybody likes to hear about this. So, Nathan, what are we doing next time?
I have changed my mind. I know we previously said that we were going to talk more about roller coasters, but I thought I'll save that for another time. I want to go into a different avenue of things. And we've briefly talked about it today. I'm going to talk about Oddworld Inhabitants, or particularly Abe's Odyssey, which is a very old PlayStation 1 game. And we're going to talk about the significance of the storyline, what it represents, how it was made, and just the company in itself and some shady practices that happen to push this company out when they are one of the most creative and wonderful storytellers going. So
there'll be a hefty dose of nostalgia in that one. So if anybody can still hear the PS1 boot up sounds in their head, then rev yourself up. If you remember getting those demo discs, I was saying to Nathan, I actually couldn't get through the Oddworld Abe's Odyssey demo when I got the demo disc, so I gave it up, and I've never played any of the games. And that
well, your homework,
6.
mate. Your homework is to play New and Tasty, or the original. You can get them on Steam. Ian,
I can emulate it. Yeah, I can emulate
yeah,
it.
you could probably also emulate the first one. You don't need to play it all the way through. Just get a basic gist of what it is. It's a puzzle game, basically. It's a platformer. It looks like a platformer, but it is a puzzle. It's very good. It's dark.
Yeah, I mean,
Fun.
Yeah, we'll see. So that'll be next episode, which will be good. Bit of nostalgia for us people over 30s. Basically, if things hurt now that didn't used to hurt, you're the right age for what we're going to talk about. And then the episode after that will be about Web3, which is the evolution of the internet and how this proposed quote-unquote Web3 would function as a decentralized internet, etc., etc. But we'll also talk about the pitfalls and how that can lead people to being scammed, because it's often used as a buzzword now. this Web3 cryptocurrency project, blah, blah, blah. It's often a way for you to you're going to lose a load of fucking money, or you're going to get promised something that you won't deliver. And then we'll update you about future episodes as we get to those points. But other than that, what have you guys got coming up in the next week? Because I'm going away. So we're going to have a recording break, but you won't be able to tell, listeners, because episodes are still going to happen. But I'll be in Germany for a week. On Wednesday, coming Wednesday, I'm going to a hut in the middle of nowhere in Northumberland, up near Sycamore Gap.
Right.
To do some
Don't shoot yourself in the head.
Yeah, well, I hope not. I'll be going with my wife for 2 days, and we're going to a hut that's got a bathtub outside, so you can do stargazing while you're having a nice bath on a night. And then I'm going to Germany for a week to go to a Tolkien festival where I'll be dressed up as a hobbit.
Yes, that's cool.
Fantastic. It's going to be fucking awesome. What are you guys up to?
I'm doing a lot of overtime. I'm doing a gig in Leeds on Wednesday, so that should be fun. I'm doing scratch and sniff. Yeah. I've got nothing prepared for it because I've been working so much, and I thought, you know what, I'll do it today, I'll do it tonight, and then I forgot that we were doing this. So...
Whoops. Sounds like a you problem.
Thumbs up. That is a me problem.
It's a Santiago bar, right?
Yes.
Leeds.
Santiago bar in Leeds.
So I used to live in Leeds, so like when I saw the name, I was like, oh shit, I remember that. Cool place. Ian, what are you up to?
I'm going to start trialing some new material whilst wearing our I bought it for the group, but it is mine. I'm going to be wearing the Toast Heads whilst doing this performance. I'm going to try that out at both open mics and also at Long Live, because they're famously open to new ideas. And although it will be Jack and Sam emceeing, it's the kind of thing that would probably be up their street. And then I've got my parents coming to visit. My mum's heading up first, and then my dad's driving up 2 days later once he's finished whatever he's doing. So I've got them for the back half of the week and the bank holiday.
Are they staying in the Sherwood Street
They are
suite?
staying in the Sherwood Suite.
They are.
Oh, very nice.
They are.
Lovely. Right. Well, that has been a lovely episode, and it sounds like we've all got some very nice things coming up. So, listeners, I hope that whatever you're up to when you're listening to this episode, that you have a good time. And we will see you on the next episode. So that's a goodbye from me, Chris.
Goodbye from me, Ian.
And a goodbye from me, once again, Ian.
Bye.
Bye-bye.